In most organizations, there are different teams working on the infrastructure, either building it or maintaining it or managing security or simply using it to deploy applications. This means based on how teams collaborate, developers, data engineers, and product team rely on DevOps, cloud architects, or platform teams to build and maintain their infrastructure. So this dependency naturally creates a bottleneck. So this bottleneck has different root causes. Okay. So to avoid this, let's say the product team is not an expert in infrastructure as a code or Terraform and does not have time to learn it as it is not part of their primary responsibilities. And they would have their own deadlines to meet. And also, cloud architects and DevOps spend more than 30% of their time supporting other teams. In some companies, more than 50% of the time of DevOps engineers is spent on the support. In other words, they don't have time to build a complete solution from scratch to solve this issue since they are busy building, maintaining, troubleshooting, and helping others. So, using modules and this brain board has come up with a feature where you can design, which is a kind of self-service model where you can just draw a diagram and by default it will get converted into infrastructure as a code. So this tool will support most of the cloud providers, be it be Azure, AWS, GCP, and Oracle Cloud, and many more cloud providers. So in this video, I'm going to discuss how we can use this. I'm going to create a simple design where we can represent and we can convert that into a code format, which is in Terraform as a code or infrastructure as a code, and that can be used to deploy a solution in your required cloud platform. Okay, so let's come back to this. If you look at the pricing of this brainboard, here we are going to use this free edition where you can use to generate unlimited cloud architectures and unlimited Terraform code generation. If you want to deploy it using this brainboard itself, then you have to use the professional version where you need to pay around $100 per month. Okay, you can integrate with your Git or any other repositories that you want, and also you can use a remote backend, and this will be easily understandable when you know the basics of Terraform. So I'm going to showcase how we can create or how we can generate a code in the Terraform. I have already got some of the designs here. However, I'm going to use a new architecture and I'm going to draw a simple design where we can see how that it is converting into a Terraform code. Okay. So if you look at, these are the various cloud providers that Brainboard supports: AWS, GCP, Oracle Cloud, Scaleway, Azure DevOps, Kubernetes, and all of these are supported. I'm going to pick up Azure platform, and here I'm going to choose a new architecture, and I'm giving like to start from a blank architecture. So you can also choose from the templates. Let's say if I click on this templates, there are wide variety of templates available here in this cloud infrastructure templates catalog. So this is mainly for infrastructure deployment in the cloud platform, whether it is Azure, AWS, GCP, or Oracle Cloud. So if I filter it, the templates, whatever that I need, or if I find it out helpful, I can use the same design. Okay, so let me choose here Azure, and you can see whatever that is there for Azure, you can see clearly all of these design patterns. Whatever you want, you can use it. and modify it for your needs, and then you can use that Terraform code for your deployments. Okay. So similarly, if I go and filter with this AWS, I can see only AWS templates. Okay. And GCP will have only limited templates. And even if you come to Oracle Cloud, you can see only one template which is there here in this template. But now we are not going to use any templates here. So this is just for your reference where you can simply load these templates and see the code or whatever that you get generated. So let's say I will generate or I will use simple template just for your understanding. Okay, so I'll use this Azure Key Vault. Okay, and here you can see what are the components that are there on this Key Vault architecture: resource group, VNet, subnet, Key Vault, seed, and things like that. So now I'm going to click on this, or I can use this copy link template. Copy this template into a new architecture, and you can see this template has got copied, and you can see the code is getting generated. Now it's generated. Okay, so once you have all this code and there are multiple files which has got generated, let's say if I go with variables.tf, you can see some data here, and terraform.tf vats, you can see some data here. Okay, so now since it is the existing template, it is difficult or it may be confused for you to understand. So let me try with the new architecture with a simple design. Okay, and along before we try with this blank architecture, we also have got this import data option where you can import your resources from Terraform files or a brainboard file or third party where it will get imported to this and a code will get generated or a design will get generated. Now click on this blank architecture. So here I'll say Azure demo, and here you can use the description of whatever that you want. Okay, so I'll give a name as Azure demo, and then you can use the tags if needed. Otherwise you can go for, let's say, I'll give the description as demo architecture so that you can easily identify whenever needed. Similarly, you can also add tags for your deployment. So I'm not adding any tag values here. Those who are already aware of Azure basics, they'll get to know what are these tags. Okay, if you don't know what are the tags, please go through my Azure learning series where you'll be able to understand it easily. Now I clicked on create. Now you can see that it is loading. However, by default it has picked up as Oracle Cloud Platform. Now I'm changing it to Microsoft Azure RM. Okay, so for any Azure deployment, first thing that you need to have is a resource group. Okay, and even before that resource group, you should know the location where you're going to deploy. So for that, I'm going to use this location. So because as soon as you select this Azure RM or any other cloud provider, it will display the icons, whatever that you need to deploy on this cloud platform. So if it is compute, you can see all the compute related services which you can just drag and drop to this architecture design area. Okay, so similarly, you'll also find the network components, storage, database, and many more. Whatever that you wanted to deploy on your cloud platform using this Terraform, you just drag and drop, and you need to provide some parameters where we are going to discuss about those values in a bit. Now I'm just choosing the location here. First thing is location, which is ESTS. By default it has got selected. Now once you have selected this one, and there is an option here which you can choose the cloud configuration which you wanted to use. Click on this, it will display whatever the location that you want. Let's say I want South Central US, you can choose it, Southeast Asia or North Europe, or UK. So let me choose Southeast Asia for a change, and we'll save it. So however, we are going to use this location for various other deployments as well. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable so that I can use this variable whenever is needed in the same deployment. So in order to create a variable for Terraform, you have to use this variables picture. So click on this variables and click on add variable. So here you can give, let's say, location and location name, and so I'm keeping this value as string, and then the default value Southeast Asia. So I've given the default value, and then click on this create. So you can define the scope of this variable. So let's say we want this location for entire project or for entire organization based on the deployments, whatever the time we do in the future. Otherwise, you can only choose that architectural level variable. So for me, I will prefer architecture because I will be modifying or I'll be deploying different resources in different regions. So for that, I'm using architecture. So here I've given default value as Southeast Asia because I'm choosing location as Southeast Asia for my deployment here in this demo. Click on create, and you can see that a variable for the location has got created. Now I'll go to the design area. Here, instead of this Southeast Asia, we can also choose simply like variable dot location, so that my code will get generated based on that location. Okay. Instead, you can keep that variable in the backend, whereas in the design, you can keep it as Southeast Asia for our understanding. Okay. So every time we modify this one here in this design, the Terraform code will get changed. For now, it is not showing anything. So we will see in a bit. Now, we see that location is ready. Now I'm going to deploy a resource group. Okay. Now you can see as soon as I add the resource group or I drag the resource group to this design area, I've got the code generated in this main.tf file. Whereas we have got all the required parameters like providers, TFVAS files, everything is there. Based on the inputs that we give, it's going to change this Terraform code. Okay. Now I'm modifying this resource group. So click on this resource group. Here you can see the name of the resource group and all of this. So even for this, I would recommend to use the variable for the name of the resource group. So here I'll make like variable and I'll say RG name. You can give the default value like some Azure demo, some number hyphen RG, so that we can easily identify it is a resource group. Create. So without having these variables, still you can create, but it is not a recommended approach when you deploy in this platform. Okay. Now I have added variable there here, but still I need to configure. Click on this resource which you want to modify and then come to this. Okay, and let me show it again. Click on this and then cloud configuration. Here, the resource name, you can keep it whatever that you want. Name of the actual resource, variable dot origin. So whenever you create variables there, by default, it will get replicated here in this section so that you can choose. Okay. Advanced configuration. If you wanted to have any of the advanced configurations for this, you can add it. But for now, we are going only with the default settings, which is the simple resource group. So by default, this will get saved automatically. And as soon as it gets saved, a code will also get generated. So location, it is showing us Southeast Asia. I wanted to get it as a variable instead of this Southeast Asia. Let me modify it here. Just click on this cloud configuration, and here I will change it like variable dot location. It will auto save, and see here, this has got changed. Now I've got my Terraform code for the resource group deployment. So if you wanted to see the providers, yes, all the Azure providers are already there here. And if you look at the Terraform tf-vars file, you can see that this environment is called as test, and variables.tf file also got generated based on the inputs that you have given under the variables. Okay, so this is the RG name, the location. So as we move on and drawing with multiple resources, then you can see that code will get generated, and you can see more code here in this format. Now we've got this RG, and we can go with this plan, and it will show the validation whether it is a valid code or not. If any parameter is missing, it will throw an error. So instead, I will also go with the storage account. Okay, let's try with storage account also, so that we can see some full-fledged. Here it is, storage. So under storage, there are multiple resources. I'm going with storage account here, and you can see that as soon as I add that storage account here, this has got generated along with this location. Now, even with this storage account name, I wanted to create a variable. So here I will add a variable name like storage account name, and you can give, let's say, some random number. Okay, it will start with letter, and you can give any numbers there and create. So variable has got created for the storage account. Now we'll come back to the design area. So click on the storage account, and we know under the storage account we have got various features within the Azure platform, where you can choose a performance type, the replication type like LRS, ZRS, ZRS, and things like that. And also you can create containers, and also you can choose hot tier and cool tier. So all of this security settings and all the required additional configurations which you can use it for a storage account can be configured using this cloud configuration. The resource name, you can keep this one as is. This is just a resource name. So here the replication type, so this will take some time to get it addressed, or to get it loaded automatically. So here it will show by default account tier, account replication type, and all of this. So for now, let me refresh it quickly so that we can have this again. Okay, so we've got the storage account. I've just reloaded. Click on this configuration. See here, as soon as I refresh, it is showing all the replication types so that we can just choose that filters. So based on the filters, your code will get generated in the right hand side. Okay, account tier, whether it is a standard or premium, you can choose, and the location by default is not selected. Name of the storage account, we have already created a variable, so I'm going to give variable.storage account name. So for some reason it is not loading. With dot location. Thanks for watching part 1. I am going to release part 2 in next schedule. Thank you.